Good morning, everybody. We'll probably have some people coming on late. I know this is a unusual time. We usually do it at 10, but Brent today had an appointment at 10, so we're gonna be flexible today for Brent's schedule. And I'm fortunate to have Brent in town. As you can see, he's sitting right next to me. And so anyway, welcome to the Monday call. This is being recorded, and like I said, people will be joining in throughout the next 30 minutes with Brent, and then we're going to go to April for all the legal updates. Man, this is crazy. I was at a seminar last week, and this BBRC, I'm sure April, you'll get into it more, but they're already thinking of doing away with it because it's causing too many problems. Yeah, so it's crazy.
It's the DOJ that wants to do away with it.
That's right. So I can't wait for this. I hope you got the message out to your group. This will be recorded, but you need a couple minutes.
I'm ready, baby.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is that my man? Sid, is that
That is. That's the world famous Sung Han.
Son? Good morning.
He thought it was at 10, but I was like, dude, get on now.
I love that guy. Guy is a kick butt realtor and he's a pastor. I love that guy. I really do. So, all right. Well, listen, I'm going to turn it over to Brent. I'm going to let him just kind of freewheel. I gave him just a couple of points and he's going to go for it. So ladies and gentlemen, Brent, go.
Hey guys, how you doing? Merry Christmas to you. It's so good to be here. Mwah. Just flew in last week from Puerto Rico, and it is cold, wet, and rainy in Northern California, man. I haven't worn a jacket or a vest or anything, so it's kind of fun. I mean, it's supposed to be cold, wet, and rainy and stormy for the holidays. So Merry Christmas, and man, get ready for a great year. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's like a palpable energy in the air for 2025. I was talking to Glenn Sanford this weekend about it. Glenn's like, oh yeah, I feel it. I'm talking to all my leaders. I'm on here talking to you guys. And there's a shift. There's a real, it's going to happen. You're going to get your breakthrough this year. So I want to share this with you. On Saturday, I got two of my kids to sit and watch with me on YouTube, Jim Quick. Kwik, although I may not spell it like that now that I think about it. I wrote it down quickly. But raise your hand at me, wave your hand, or in the chat, I'm going to open the chat. Do you know, if you know Jim Quick, put yes, or wave your hand at me if you know who Jim Quick is. I'm checking the chat, not seeing anybody wave their hand, although I have the chat across the screen. Jim Quick, okay. Nope, I don't think anybody knows him. So he is considered the world's foremost memory expert. He's famous, hangs out with everybody you could think of. Every famous name, he's with them. And his story was when he was 5, he suffered a traumatic brain injury. And he struggled his whole life with reading and math, and the kids made fun of him, and he just couldn't retain things. And he was able to heal his brain. It forced him. What is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. And so, right, when Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone because his sister couldn't hear. And he's like, how do I create something that she can hear better? And it was led to the invention of the telephone. Necessities of other inventions. So what do you need? What is absolutely necessary for you right now? And so Jim wrote a book called Limitless. You might write that down. I highly recommend you get it. The book's about advancing. The book is about progressing. Write those words down. I like those kind of words, action words, or the verbs. And it's about getting out of the box, because we're all in a box, and in the box we created it. You know, you could blame your aunt, your uncle, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, you know, the broker of California for EXP or whatever. But the box is the glass ceiling. We put it there. You know, the sides, it's just all of our making. And so he kind of talks about how to live a great life. And he talks about mindset, methodologies, and motivation as the way to break through. And I can't get into all that right now, but I'm going to give you, I couldn't write quick enough, man. It was on YouTube. You can look it up. And if you want to know how to find it, it was Pace Morby is what I typed in. Pace Morby, who's our speaker for March. I was going to watch Pace Morby with my kids so they could learn how to, like, right now I'm looking at buying 33 luxury condos. And let me see, they're about 400,000 each. So that'll be about a, I don't know, $13 million purchase. I'm going to do it with no money down. Seller's going to finance the whole thing for 50 years. The payment's going to be 20,000 a month, and the revenues off the condos are 60,000 a month. So I'll make 40,000 a month. The seller's not going to have a tax hit because he's going to be the bank. I'm going to hold the deed. We'll own it. And this is all learned from Pace Morby in the past week. So I told my kids about it, and they're like, we want to watch that. I go, so we can buy an office building, you can buy an office building, because there are rich people who own the office building outright. These 33 luxury condos are owned outright. And so here's a way for sellers. They don't want to sell it. If they sell it, they have to buy something else. Well, they don't want to buy anything else. They're retiring. They're done. He's owned these outright for 20 years. And so I'm going to tell my guy, hey, sell them to me. I'll buy them. And you can give him a crazy good price. Let's say I give him, for example, you guys are going to freak out. This is funny. Let's say he hasn't put them on the market. He's thinking about it. And I know his dream price is about 13 million. Let's say I give him 14 million, $1 million over his dream price. But the financing is seller financed at 3.9. You know what the financing on that right now? It's like 7%. And so the difference there is about 3%. And you take 3% on $14 million, he stretched it out over 50 years, he's actually going to end up making like $16 million, $17 million. His heirs will get $20,000 a month for the next 50 years. They couldn't screw it up. It's a cash flow, zero taxes, because he's the bank. He never sold the property. Sale of the property triggers the sale. And I know I went into a little detail there. You're like, what did he just say? I've learned all this in the past week. You could buy anything, and that makes sense to the seller. They will finance it for you at a rate of 3%, 3.9%. He owns $500 million worth of stuff. I want you guys to be wealthy. That's why I'm coming to Cabo. He's going to hang out the whole time. He's got 900 employees. He is the guy in America. He schooled Grant Cardone on a you can watch the Pace Morby Grant Cardone interview. Grant was shocked. He goes, I consider myself to be highly adept at this stuff. He goes, you're blowing me away with what you're saying right now. He's like, he just put down like $10 million into a deal. He goes, I wouldn't have had to put anything down. And so it's a way to do really well for your family. You think, but what if it goes south? The rents are 60,000 a month. The payment's 20,000 a month for 50 years. And then as rents go up, 70,000 a month, 80,000 a month, the payment's still 20,000 a month. As the equity goes from 13 million to 26 million over the next 30 years, the equity difference is mine. It is yours. Anyways, I'm way off topic. So I typed Pace Morby. Up came the interview with Jim Quick. Me and Jim Quick speak all over the world. And Jim was just laying out one-liner zingers all over the place, which I found very inspiring. So here's one of them. You've heard me say it before, but I just loved it. If you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. In other words, you're self-sabotaging. Well, that's great. You could do it, Brent. I've come across so much stuff over the past 20 years, and I walk away from it. I don't know what to do with it. A $13 million purchase, a lot of times the bank's going to want you to put down half. $6.5 million. And if you don't have it, or maybe you have it, but you have to liquidate everything to get it, you'll pass. But you just pass on the opportunity of a lifetime. The opportunity of a lifetime is around you all the time, but you're not asking for it. The reason you have not is because you asked not. Hey, do you know anyone who owns a KOA campground? Do you know anyone? I don't want to own a KOA campground. I don't want to own one either. But you could buy it, put someone in charge of it who knows how to run it, and walk away. And same thing. I'm not going to manage 33 luxury, condominiums, and you put someone in charge of it. Yeah, maybe you pay 3, 4, 5,000 a month to run it, but look at the positive cash flow. Anyways, it's pretty cool. So stop self-sabotaging, and you got to really open your mind. For example, one of the things he said that was bizarre. We all know to brush our teeth, right? We all know to take care of your gum health, right? To kind of gently floss your tongue, right? And hopefully your dental hygienist taught you. You've known this your whole life. But and flossing, right? You know that. Did you know that is complete and total brain health? Not isn't it good for your teeth and your mouth, good hygiene? It actually is super good for your brain. Healthy. I did not know this till Jim Quick, because he's a brain expert. Necessity is the mother of invention. With that energy he had, I did not know that brushing your teeth, flossing, and doing all that stuff is really good for your brain. So those of you that maybe aren't flossing like you should, and he goes, I hate flossing. Most people say, I hate flossing. He goes, start with one tooth. Small, simple steps. Start with one tooth. Just go, boop, boop. I did it. And the next time do two teeth. Boop, boop. I did it. And then, because write this one down. He actually said it, and it's something I grabbed onto about a month ago, and I've been saying religiously, progress. Or how about this? What's the definition of happiness? And people are like, oh, having a home, a car, someone you love, food on the table. I don't know, money, not being out of debt, not being stressed, knowing God. And yes, but I love this definition of it. It's the definition of happiness is progress. When you're making progress towards loving your spouse better, being a better dad, a better mom, when you're making progress towards more sales, when you're making progress towards taking care of your body, or your like, where are you with God? Like, well, when I get here, then I'll be happy. No, when you just, man, today I read my Bible a little, I prayed for my family and prayed over some clients. It's like the definition of happiness is progress. How do you feel when you clean the garage? How do you feel when you clean your car? How do you feel when you simply do the dishes and wipe down the counters? You made some progress, small, simple steps. And so I love what he said. And then he goes on to say this. He goes, there's kind of three things. There's what you believe is possible. Write that down. What you believe is possible. And then there's what you believe is you're not only possible, but is capable for you. So like, yeah, it's possible to climb Mount Everest, but I don't really think I could, Yeah, it's possible to make $1 million a year, but I don't, so there's, what do you believe is possible? We believe a lot of things are possible, but what do you think not only is possible, but also capable for you, that you're capable of doing? And then the final one, what it really gets down to, though, is not those two things. He is, what do you believe you deserve? Because you kind of do what you deserve in life. Like, if you think I don't deserve this, well, why don't you deserve it? And you got to do some soul searching work. And money is a thermometer of the amount of value you bring the marketplace. And if you want to have more income, bring more value. Delis that bring a ton of value are successful, flourishing delis. Now, of course, they have to be run properly and maintained and all those things, but that's part of the value, is running an efficient business, right? Tile, flooring, same thing. What kind of value are you bringing? What are your prices? What's your customer service like? My brother owns a landscape and concrete company. I said, bro, your follow-up game is not where it needs to be. I spent, $400,000 with him, and it is so busy. He doesn't have anyone coming up. They come, they try, but I would say try is the appropriate word. You need to have somebody who simply goes and this person, they're a sweeper. They make sure the past clients are happy. We've had some things die, some plants die, and it could take a month to replace that instead of a day or two, So I said, hire a sweeper, and that's all value. I think he'd have a bigger business if he had a sweeper, a director of wow, someone who could just, what do you need? Let's get it done. And they're not focused on the new jobs. They're focused on the past jobs, customer service. So that was pretty cool. He also talked about the thermometer and the thermostat. He said the thermometer, most people are thermometers. They simply react. They're having a good day. Oh, mom's having a bad day. Dad's having a bad day. Mama, they're up and they're down. They're up and they're down. Like in real estate, the life of a real estate agent, we've all seen this, is super funny. I'm excited, I'm depressed. I'm excited, I'm depressed. I'm excited, I'm depressed. Up and down, up and down, up and down, depending upon how many escrows you have. I don't have anything in escrow. I'm so stressed out. I could just freak out and die right now. It's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And you keep focused on the problem. And you got to focus on the solution. So what's the solution? Well, I could call 10 people today and ask for business. That probably won't do anything. That's your mindset. What if you call 10 people today and one of them says, yeah, I want to go buy a house. Let's go. Yeah, we're actually about to put our home on the market. It's funny that you called. It's not magic, it's motion. Write that one down. It's not magic, it's motion. So you simply ask, no, I don't know anyone wants to buy or sell a house. Yeah, it's a crazy question, but you don't know anyone who wants to buy or sell a vineyard or a building or a fast food restaurant or a gas station. You know anyone in that? Well, yeah, my uncle, I have a friend, he's thinking about selling his dry cleaners. Oh man, I'd love to tell him what it's worth. My business partner, Paul Frank, and because he's a commercial agent, you don't know how to tell them what a gas station's worth, or a steak and seafood restaurant, or a KOA campground, or a 10-story building, but Paul does. And Paul Frank, write down those two first names. He's your business partner. If you have a commercial business partner, then that's your commercial. But if you don't, most people don't. You could say truthfully, my business partner and I would love to come and tell you what the dry cleaner's worth. And you might be shocked at what it's worth. That's called, putting it on a plate. You might be shocked at what you can get for it. Are you a little curious? Yeah. Why don't we pop by? Write down the word pop by. It's innocuous. It's simple. And it is. We'll pop by next week, 5-10 minutes, take a look at the place. We'll do our homework, and we will tell you exactly what you could sell that for. Would you like that? And smile. They go, yeah, that'd be great. It's not this big. Okay, we're going to have our staff come over. We're going to take measurements. We're going to laser the building. I don't know if I'm ready for all that. But are you asking for the commercial business? Are you asking for the residential business? I have a 28-year-old kid who just listed like 78 custom builds in Hilton Head because he asked for the business. The guy liked him. He got it. And but the problem is, myself included, we don't ask. I just asked Dean Graciosi to ask Tony Robbins for a favor for me. I go, I know this is crazy, but I'm also a believer if you don't ask, the answer is always no. Would Tony be willing to do this for me? I just need him for 10 minutes. That's it. 10 minutes. If he wanted to do 25, I'd be over the moon, but 10 minutes would be great. And, I apologize for asking, but again, I believe if you don't ask the answer no, and it's totally fine if he doesn't want to. Merry Christmas. Dean answers back. He goes, yeah, that seems totally doable. I'm talking to Tony this weekend. I'll get back to you and let you know. But in my mind, like, I can't ask Tony Robbins. Do you have a friend who knows Michael Phelps? Well, I can't bother Michael Phelps. Well, you should. It's okay to ask. People all the time, well, Brent, I don't want to bother you. Okay, you didn't bother me. So what kind of help did you get? I didn't get any help. I respond to everyone. I help everyone I can possibly help. Sometimes I'm gone for a week, gone for 2 weeks. I had surgery last week. I wasn't really able to do a lot, but this week I'm back. I'm feeling good. You can't shut me up. And so thank God it was surgery on my mouth. But anyways, okay. So the bottom line is you don't want to be a thermometer. You want to be a thermostat. Set that thing, right? You act on your environment. Don't let your environment act on you. Either your mind serves you or you will serve your mind. If write this down, either your emotions serve you or you will serve your emotions. Do you have family members that let their emotions run them? Like they just freaking lose it and they go bananas? That's someone who doesn't have their emotions serve them. They're serving their emotions. They're easily angered. How do we do our best and most clearest and noble thinking when we're just frosted, when we're angry? And Tony Robbins said, write this down. He says, you got 90 seconds. You got 90 seconds to be upset. That's it. Staying upset for hours, days, weeks, months. Forgive who you got to forgive. Move on. You got go outside, grab a pillow, scream at it. Do whatever you have to do. I get it. Bad things happen to good people. Says in the good book, which I believe in, that this world's full of trials and tribulations. We've all had our share. There are terrible things happening around the world. There may be things you're experiencing right now. We went and cut Christmas tree in the forest yesterday. It was getting dark and some creepy truck went down behind my family. I was in a Mercedes and it was not a 4-wheel drive Mercedes. So I stayed at the top of where we went up in the mountain to cut Christmas trees, and we had permits. And we're in the boonies, man. I'm like, this is wild. So I get to this hill and it's going down and it's got snow on it, about this much snow on it. I go, I'm not taking the Mercedes SUV type thing down that road. I'll never get out. So I stayed at the top, but they were in 4-wheel drive trucks because we're cutting a couple Christmas trees. We're throwing them in the back. We're getting some like 15, 20 footers. It was fun. So they all went down. I stayed at the top with Sarah. Well, this truck comes, like if you ever saw a serial killer movie, this was the truck. And the guy follows them down there. Man, they've been down there for an hour. I expected them to be back in 10, 20, 30 minutes. It's getting dark, like dark. We don't hear a word. All of a sudden we hear this bam, 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 bam. I mean, shotgun explosions. And I'm like, did you hear that? That was weird. And then all of a sudden, like a minute later, bam, 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 a bunch more. And we're waiting and waiting and waiting. And there's just no, I get out of the car, I'm looking down there, way down in the canyon. I'm like, and there's private property signs everywhere. You have to pull the trees. I mean, I'm like, did my family just get wiped out? Right? I mean, it was a terrible feeling. Why am I telling you that? I can't remember. I had an actual reason, but it was like, oh, bad things happen to good people. I like literally, I'm like fighting it, like, oh my gosh, I hope that crazy dude didn't have a gun and they get in an argument down there. Because my oldest daughter is kind of strong-headed and will stand up for herself to anyone. And I'm like, I pictured her picking a fight with this dude. In my mind, I kind of went there and I went, oh my God. And like, do we call the police? There was no cell reception. It was weird. Finally, he comes out and I'm eyeballing the dude, like, and he drives away. And he was the first one, last one in, first one out. And I'm like, oh man. And then my family finally came out afterwards. I'm like, oh dear Lord, thank you, Jesus. But so here's the deal. I get it. Bad things happen and you got to deal with it. But you being depressed for days, weeks, months, you got to shake it off. And so I'm going to say this, take the invisible and make it visible. God gave you a mind to create dreams. Sometimes, like in my mind, it ran away with me a little bit. I'm like, that guy's creepy. Then I hear all these gunshots. Then he drives out. I admit, I was trying to like stay calm, right? And so, but your emotions. So your mind is your number one way to build wealth because your mind's keeping you from it right now. Well, that's not for me. This isn't for me. This sort of thing. Your mind. And so that's why you should get his book, Limitless, because your mind is truly limitless. He's going to describe the capabilities of your mind. It's truly, truly amazing. He also talked about a lie. Have you ever known anyone to believe a lie? Have you ever believed a lie about yourself? You're too short, you're too tall, you're fat, you're ugly, you can't speak, you're not funny, you're not loving. Nobody will ever love me. Nobody will ever, I'll never find significance. I can't. And so you don't. You ever believed a lie? This is great. He said, I'll give you the acronym like L period I period E period. He says it's a limited idea entertained. I like that. A lie, it's limited thinking. It's a limited idea and you entertain it and you believe the lie. I thought that was powerful. So a few more things and we're going to wrap up, but who you spend time with is who you become. Write that zinger down. Write that down, everyone. Who you spend time with is who you become. Are you spending time with people that fill your bucket, that add to your life, or tear you down? And so some of you maybe need to limit some time with people who are just not good for you. They're toxic. They're, a lot of times it's family and stuff. And if you're married to that person, do the best you can. I'm not proposing divorce, but here's the deal. Who you spend time with is who you become. Be very careful who you're hanging out with. Hang out with people spiritually who are on the same page that want to go spiritually, politically, business-wise, all that sort of stuff. I like this one. Don't downgrade your goals and dreams, your destiny. Upgrade your mindset and motivation. I'll say that again. Don't downgrade your goals and dreams, your destiny. Don't. Upgrade your mindset and motivation. I love that. He said the tiniest of actions to make progress towards your goal right now is what you want to be doing. The tiniest of actions. Floss one tooth tonight. And then floss 2, and then 3 little steps. I can't call 10, 20 people today. Call 1. Tomorrow, call 2. He really kind of went through this in his book quick. So we're going to wrap up with this is we, for those of you in Northern California, this Thursday night, we're having a Christmas party. We have live music. Santa's coming. My family's going to be here and we're going to have food and drink and all kinds of stuff. So that's this. Is it 5 o'clock, Rob? When does it start?
6 to 8.
6 to 8. No, let me start. My family's telling me it starts at 5, which means they're usually a little late. So I'll let them think 5. But it's 6 to 8. Food, drink, festivities, live music. We have a full band, and they're playing really cool Christmas music. It's not like a rock band. And Santa's going to be here if you bring the kids. It's going to be a good time. Come on down to the office here in Roseville. We'd love to see you. It's where I am now. Here's my my office down here. We got the wreath up, and so we're ready for Christmas here. And then finally, if you really want to have a breakthrough this year, come with Frank and I to Cabo. Cabo's where this business goes from your head to your heart. And if you have a group, bring a prospect, bring one person. But we got Gary Brecka, the health, like
Yes.
the hottest guy in America. He's going to be there, all hanging out. Work out with Gary in the gym, jog with Gary on the beach, hanging out in the pool. Pace Morby's going to be there, hanging out. He goes, I want to hang out with the agents. I want to teach them how to do this. This is life-changing. Pace is going to be there. I mean, what if you just picked up one 60-unit apartment complex and Pace goes, I'll do it with you. I'll partner with you because he gets half, but he knows how to do it. I don't know how to do it. I'm bringing Pace in on my deal. So I could have 40,000 a month. It'll drop it to 20,000 a month. And then we'll both pay the manager half, 2,500 each. So, we'll make, was that 17.5 a month? I'm happy to do it because I don't know how to set up the seller carryback and to do all that. Pace, the way he talks is very good. But I don't even know Pace Morby. Trust me, if you have an opportunity, Pace would love it. He goes, I'll partner with anyone. I'll come in and show you how to do it. Very safe. And he's an amazing guy. But and then we have Tom Ferry. Like I went to Kyle Whistle, one of the top agents in the country. I go, Kyle, if I could get any real estate superstar who knows real estate to come to Cabo, who would it be? He goes, Tom Ferry. I got Tom Ferry. It cost big bucks. Flying in a private jet. And then I got Ed Milet. I go, I want Ed Milet. I'm a mindset monster. I love Ed. Ed's like one of the hottest speakers out there. He's flying in, and that would cost even more. So we spent a ton of money. This 5-day event, March 11th to the 16th, is $587 or $97. It's cheap. The Hyatt Ziva is fully all-inclusive. All of your meals, five-star restaurants. Food's great. Water's great. You're not going to get sick. I've been there many, 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 many times. Everything's filtered. Everything's good. The staff, they say thank you, put their hand over the heart. They'll thank you. The gardeners, the bus boys, the waitresses, the management. Thank you. The service is amazing. You'll feel special, and you're going to get a break, and you're going to get an education, and you'll be able to write the whole thing off. We go from 9 to 12:30 every morning, and then play all day, play all night. You can go fishing, catch a marlin, golf. Be there. Don't miss it. It's going to be awesome. Come to Cabo. Buy a ticket today. Like Tony Robbins, I'll end with this, says take immediate action. But how will I get the plane ticket? Buy your ticket today. Reserve your room. And then where there's a will, there's a way. Guys, you can do this. If an 18-year-old kid could spend $50,000 on their education this year, because that's the average cost of a 1 year at college, you could find your way to Cabo. And I believe the people you meet, the people you associate with, what you learn, new ideas leads to new results. Every one of you needs to come to Cabo. We're going to sell it out, 1,100 people. Leo's going to be there. Glenn Sanford's going to be there. Everybody's coming. Coach Burt, Coach Bill. There's so many amazing people. I'm going to give this back to Frank. Love you guys. I got to run off and run to a thing, but I'll get back to Frank. We'll see you guys. Mwah. Merry Christmas. See you Thursday night.
And I just thank Brent for the last 30 minutes of what he shared. I didn't even know about this Pace Moby guy. So I'm definitely going to look into that for sure. I do notice that a lot of the people that are successful into EXP are doing a lot of this investing with Grant Cardone. I'm sure you guys are more experienced than me, but if there's a way that we can do it, I'm going to give it a shot. So I thank you for continuing to if some of you are coming in at 10 and going, hey, what did I miss? We started at 9:30 today just to mess with your heads, only because Brent had he's on a call right now, a recruiting call. So that's why I had to get off. Well, anyway, so we're going to continue with the schedule. And April Cook, who is my business partner and my TC and keeps me out of trouble, is going to spend the rest of our time talking about legal with the BBRC and everything. She is on the grievance board here in Sacramento, and she's got some insights for all of us. So April, good morning. The floor is yours.
I'm multi-windows going on right now.
Yeah, I hear you.
So can I share my screen? Oh, yes, I can. So I'm just going to share the whole screen so I can quickly go into this stuff. I just downloaded all the latest. Let me collapse some things down. If you can see this folder, these are all the files that have changed. Okay, so you're not going to use every one. So the important ones are the RPA and the BRBC. This is the red line versions, and we'll be checking to see if they are all up to date in zip forms. So I'm going to open up this one. And okay, so let me get this larger so we can actually see it. So as you can see, the date is going to be 12/24. One of the things I want to caution everybody, if you have a template for the BRBC, it'll automatically update in the template. If you have in the last few days started a transaction where you're going to have the buyer sign the BRBC, that is not updated. So you need to check and make sure it gets updated. So they made this little change here, or if checked, single family residence excluded. To me, it looks like people are going to accidentally check this now. So be careful. Amount of compensation or the attached broker created. Oh, this is something the DOJ doesn't like, that you create these different commission things, schedules. And cancellation, exclusive, cancellation effective 30 days or, and it's not to exceed. So you could have a lesser amount of time. Another change, they just renumbering here. Buyer does not have sufficient funds to pay. You only want to use this if the buyer really doesn't have sufficient funds to pay. Don't use it because they don't want to pay. Have that conversation with them that you're going to ask the seller to pay. So this is broker involved properties. We know that if you cancel, you get them a list within a few days, 5 days, and broker shall be entitled to. So this talks about why you're going to get paid, how you're legally, the buyer's legally obligated to pay you. But we're not going to go through the whole thing, just the changes. Okay, important. Oops, I'm going too fast. Here we go. Cancellation. They just added this little paragraph. And remember, when getting this sign, this needs to be initialed to be exclusive. So how do you make sure it gets initialed to be exclusive? So if you go into AuthentiSign or DocuSign, you can change that initial, click on it, and in AuthentiSign, the right side will say required, will allow you to make it a required initial. Then they clarified all of this non-entity stuff and as they explained it in our legal update with CR trainers, you could have this huge entity name and you can make it smaller. So you could put the whole thing there and then make the entity name smaller so that it'll actually fit in the forms. So that is for that, but I want to get over to the RPA. So I have multiple things open. Okay, here's what I want to do. And we're going to love this one. This is a good change. And this is draft 6. So they were making changes up to December 5th. So as you can see, it's going to be dated 12/24. So make sure you're checking your RPAs that is correctly dated. Increased deposit. They've decided to take this out of the math. And so if there is going to be an increased deposit, you're going to have an increased deposit form, which is different than the other one we have for increased deposits on liquidated damages. So there'll be eventually 2 forms involved. They just found this not used all the time and it confused everybody. But here's the big change right here. Oops, right here. This is a good thing. Seller payment to cover buyer's expenses and costs. So G1, same thing. Seller credit to buyer for closing costs. Can be used for any type of closing costs at all. Additional terms. Now, this does not include buyer broker compensation here. So say part of this money is going to be used for a buy down. You can put that in there, or special financing terms. You can put that in here. Here is G3, seller payment to buyer obligation to compensate buyer's broker. Buyer's compensation affirmation. So seller agrees to pay out of the transaction proceeds a % of the final purchase price, and if applicable, a dollar amount, or if checked, a dollar amount towards the obligation of the buyer to compensate buyer's broker. So now it's right in the contract, and you don't have to have the seller payment to buyer broker form anymore. That form is gone, disappeared, done. It's all in the contract. The other thing is you don't have to give them your buyer representation agreement anymore, because it has right in here, buyer affirmatively represents that at the time this offer is made, buyer has a written agreement with buyer's broker. It's valid. It covers the property. So it covers whatever the parameters you put in there so that this property is covered. So if you're just looking for residential and this is commercial, it's not going to be covered. So make sure you have everything that they're looking for in there. Buyer has and provides for compensation for no less the amount stated above. So again, if you're going to have a buyer broker agreement for a certain amount and the seller's offering more, you cannot accept more. You cannot alter your buyer broker agreement to accept more. You can't redo it to accept more. You can redo it to accept less. So keep that in mind. So those are the two major changes that are going to affect everybody. They've made changes again on all of the contracts to the entity part on the last page here, because they really want people to use that instead of the representative capacity signature disclosure. Let's see, get down to the last page. Oh, we have this stuff here, escrow instructions. Escrow companies are still finding their way, and they may be asking for copies of our agreements. And a listing agent, if they ask to see a copy of the buyer broker agreement, they have to put that in writing in a counter offer. So they just can't ask for it, and we don't turn it over. We have a confidentiality with our own clients. So remember that. If they're going to ask for a copy or that last page, they need to put that in a contract. Who else can see that? MLS, Metrolist, or any of the MLSs could ask for a copy of it, and DRE. So don't try and get around any of this because there's audits coming. So we have an updated compensation disclosure. All of this is in here. And then we're going to go down here to the last page. Not quite the last page. We'll just go to page 16. Okay, so here we are. And again, the updated entity sellers or buyers. So be aware of how that works. I see so many contracts come over and they put the person's name, Jane Doe, comma, trustee of the blah, 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 blah trust. You don't do that. You put the entity name in here, the full entity name, and then who's legally authorized to sign right here. And then in the rest of this, you could actually put their title, trustee or survivor trustee. And maybe it would, so again, understand how this works, ask your broker how it works, and get the information in there correct. Okay, so I'm going to get out of it. Any questions on this stuff?
Yes, April, this is Aria. On the question, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
You said if the listing agent needs to see the buyer compensation, they have to ask in writing an encounter.
Yes,
is
it
that
must be in writing from the seller. Listing agent has no right to a copy of it.
okay? And after that, if the offer is accepted, they move forward and then they ask for it. So you can basically
They
just say
cannot ask for it.
they cannot. Thank you.
Once you're in an agreement, they can't ask for that. Title can ask for it.
And the title would only need the last page, not anything else, correct?
I don't know. It depends on what title asks for it. They can ask for a copy of it. Now, if the buyer is going to pay their own compensation, of course, you got to send
They
them a
need it,
copy
right.
of that, and they'll ask for a copy of that.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to go over here too. So let's see if these forms are even up. So I'm going to go into, I'll just create a new transaction. This is my training account. It's going to go new. And I'm going to go new, purchase. And all these forms are updated, like doing this Main Street and blah, 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 residential. And then let's just go ahead and save. I'm going to go over here and go to all forms. And so we see the two at the top. So they're putting these right up here and it does not look like they're in yet. So it may be a day or so before they actually get in.
Yeah, April, it said on the site that they'd be done this week, the week of the 16th. So at
Yeah,
some
they
point,
keep telling us a certain day, it's not that day.
yeah.
So I was hoping it would be today, but it's not today.
Yeah.
So it'll come
Yeah.
and sometime this week. So again, if you're in a transaction right now and you haven't completed it or sent that offer in and you're not planning on doing it till the end of the week, make sure those forms get updated. Okay, so I'm going to move over here to the DRE, the res media. So here's the thing. DOJ defends investigation to Supreme Court, says NAR petition lacks merit. So what they're trying to do, the DOJ wants to continue to go after NRA and investigate them for antitrust issues. They tried to stop the settlement. They complained about the buyer representation agreement. They don't like it, even though all the parties have agreed to it. And I think the judge approved the settlement at this point. But they're going to continue to come after realtors and the NRA.
You mean NAR, right?
Yeah, National Association of Realtors. They are going to continue to investigate, to reopen the cases, which is something they did. They had a settlement, I think, in 2017, 18, and then they reopened the case and during this lawsuit stuff. So again, this isn't over by any means. California has a law coming into effect January 1. You have to have a buyer representation agreement before showing property, touring any property. You must have that agreement in place. And that is also part of the settlement. It must be in place before you start showing property.
April, I seek clarification on that. You have to have a buyer representation, not because you might not get compensated. You have to do it because by law, you have to have one before you show property, period.
Right. By law and by settlement.
Thank you.
And if you want to get paid.
Yeah, but I mean, let's say if the pays, if
Now,
you're
the
showing
settlement-
it, what I'm saying is if you're showing it and you said, well, I wasn't worried, let's say I'm showing it to my brother, I wasn't showing about compensation, it doesn't matter. You're showing it to anybody, you have to have that because without that, you operate illegally.
So think about this. If DRE decides to audit, what are the things that they're going to look at to see if you had that agreement in place before you show the property? They can look at the lockbox, the information from the lockbox, text messages, an agreement, the listing agent say, yeah, go ahead and go at this time to show it, showing time. All of this they can look at. They can also audit your zip form files. When did this electronically get signed? And was it truly electronically signed? Now you may sign hard copies, that's fine. When was it downloaded? When did you create the transaction in zip forms? So they're going to be looking at all of this stuff. So be careful. Don't skirt the settlement. Don't get creative with any of this.
Thank you, April. All right.
One more thing, Frank.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So tomorrow, Tuesday, which is when we have our regional meetings throughout Sacramento County, we're having ours in Elk Grove. It's our last meeting of the year. We're going to have a ton of raffle prizes. We're raising money for SAR scholarship for the Learning Tree. And please come, bring cash, have fun, 8:30 at BJ's in Elk Grove.
And we'll have legal.
Yeah, Keith Dunnigan's going to be there. He'll be doing a legal update. He has all of these forms. He has articles from the DOJ. So he's going to be addressing all of this stuff.
Okay. Thank you, April. For our closing minutes, I'm going to have Michael and Elgin kind of give their thoughts as we wrap up the last call of the year. And Michael, what's on your heart? What do you want to say?
I just want to say that I'm grateful for all you guys. I mean, just coming here, getting this started this year, doing the winter circle, and being able to meet with all you guys, learn, collaborate, get something out of it every time we go. And I'm so inspired. So there's so much looking forward to next year and just taking everything to the next level. Thank you, April, for sharing all this stuff. And Brent definitely had some nice nuggets that we're going to go on from there. So thank you all. I appreciate you all. Have a great holiday. And I look forward to seeing your smiling faces next year.
Great. Thank you, Michael. And we appreciate you, believe me. All right, E, what's on your mind?
Very similar to what Michael was saying is that try to remember to live through the moments. A lot of times when we're dealing with our businesses, I think because our businesses are like every 30 days or every 60 days, right? We're always looking in the future. We got to close this escrow. What is my quarter going to look like? Everything is always fast forward, right? So it's really easy to not live in the moment and to not give yourself credit for the things that you have accomplished, and you look up and you've been doing this 37 years and you wonder where the time went. So make sure that you enjoy the journey and the good moments, as well as working your business, and make this a business and not your life. And that's it. I hope you guys have a wonderful holidays. Hope you're able to spend it with family and or whatever it is that floats your boat, and that you enjoy it. Really enjoy it.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, guys, as we're wrapping up, I want to thank you all for being part of the Winner Circle. I really enjoy our Monday calls because we try not to disappoint, and we try to give you really good information. We don't have all the answers, but we're thankful for all of you. We come together and we can definitely knock it out. Two things. If you're in Sacramento area, come to the party on Thursday night. It's going to be really, really cool. And if you're thinking about going to Cabo and you have no idea how you're going to get there, give me a call. Let's see what we can do, because my two favorite people are Gary Brecka. If you guys don't know who he is, I've been following Gary Brecka for the past year, and I don't even go see my doctor anymore. I listen to what Gary Brecka says. And number two, Ed Milet. He's my favorite speaker other than David Goggins. And I listen to him every chance I get when I get at the gym. He's very inspiring. And the last thing I want to say to you guys as we end this call, Merry Christmas to all of you and your families. And remember, make a memory, okay? Make a memory. We'll see you guys on the first Monday of 2025. And I hope you guys just really enjoy yourselves. And some of you take a couple days off. You deserve it. Okay. And for those of you that keep on working, just pace yourself. Love you all. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Frank.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Thank
Christmas.
you all. Be well. See you soon.